Greetings, my fellow Trinitarians. Welcome to another Fireside Chat. I trust that everyone had a restful and relaxing Labor Day weekend and is ready for another exciting week of academics, arts, and athletics. This past week was wonderful. Congratulations are definitely in order to the students and families in the grammar school for raising $55,000 in our annual fund run. Great job to everyone, and a huge thank you to Sarah Taylor for spearheading that effort. Today, I want to continue with my series exploring different aspects of Trinity's vision, mission, and core values. In my chat last week, I started with the end by describing the ultimate goal or vision of Christian education, which is joining Christ in his work to unite all things in heaven and on earth under his lordship, by healing the world of its brokenness through the power of the gospel and the advancement of his kingdom. This is our big why. It's why Trinity exists. That's also what business professionals like Jim Collins call a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, a huge, long-term, and wildly ambitious vision that energizes us as educators and as parents, and rallies us to a common cause to change the world. Today, I want to work backwards from this big, hairy vision of changing the world for Christ, and I want to ask, how do we get there? How do we plan to make this vision a reality? What's our strategy for success? So the answer to these questions define the shape and the substance of Trinity's unique mission and core values, while Trinity's vision speaks to the ultimate and transcendent goal and purpose of the school, its ultimate end and why it exists. Trinity's mission and core values, on the other hand, speak to how we aim to go about accomplishing this vision, the proximate and temporal means we employ to fulfill the transcendent end for which we exist. So here's how our mission and vision work together. What's our vision? Our transcendent end? To change the world for Christ. What's our mission or our strategy for success? To make saints. That's it. That's the algorithm for advancing the kingdom. That's the recipe for redemption. That's the reason that the church celebrates All Saints' Day on November 1st. That's the reason the Apostles' Creed includes the communion of the saints as one of the 12 essential articles of the Christian faith. That's the reason that life holds only one ultimate tragedy: not to have been a saint. I do realize that talking openly about saints can sometimes make evangelical Protestants uncomfortable, but sanctity is a biblical concept, and we would do very well to recover it. Saints are not freaks, exceptions, or spiritual superheroes. They aren't the opposite of sinners. In fact, there are no opposites of sinners in this world. There are only saved sinners and unsaved sinners. So, what are saints? Saints are God's solution to the problems of the world. Saints are God's plan for humanity, the standard operating model for what it means to be a human being who is created in the image of God. You can think of Jesus as the saint, the archetype of sainthood with a capital S. And you can think of all of his disciples and followers as saints with a lowercase s. The word sanctity means simply holiness, not moral perfection, but rather being set apart from the world to serve God, being called out of the world to an eternal destiny and a redemptive mission. For Jesus, this formally began at his baptism in the Jordan River, when he was declared the beloved Son of God, and he was filled with the Holy Spirit to accomplish his ministry on earth. Similarly, for us as his followers, our being called out of the world and set apart for God begins formally when we are baptized into Jesus' name, filled with the Holy Spirit, and made members of Christ's body, to literally become his hands and feet, to continue his redemptive mission on earth until he returns. But while our baptism is a formal entrance into Christ's church and that mission, it is only the beginning of a process of spirit-filled sanctification and preparation to fulfill our calling as saints. That is, as sons and daughters of God, called out of the world to reflect his glory by acting as redeemed redeemers and healed healers of the world's brokenness. This is where the role of the Christian school is so vitally important. While our children may be baptized, set apart for God, and called to an eternal destiny and a redemptive mission, they need a great deal of training and preparation in order to fulfill this calling with faithfulness and effectiveness. A holy people need a holy education. A peculiar people need a peculiar kind of formation. This is the mission of the Christian school: the training, formation, and education of saints. It's a high calling, but an absolutely essential task in the economy of God's plan for our children and families. Next time, I will begin to explore some of the details involved in Christian educational formation, including what the Bible explicitly has to say about Christian education. But until then, stay curious and have a great week.